As you can see, I did level 2 of the back rooms. Okay, so I'm going to go through level 2 here because I'm working on level 3. Level 2, oh, I'm going to have to work on level 2 still. Also, I need to make this longer when I come back down. I forgot that I did not put carpet down. I don't know if the carpet will make it any better. You know, these back rooms, the yellow ones, they have carpet. And it just looks like it's musty, dusty, crusty. But yes, so I was kind of just going over some background while I was working on this one. So level 2 is complete. It was super easy, super simple. I'd say maybe like 40 minutes of doing it and it was done. I streamed a little bit of it. However, it is not available. But I'm going to just fly through so you can kind of see what it looks like. This is how I made it. I apologize because I do want to stream me making each one of these. Basically, I made a giant yellow room. And then I put in lighting above. Then I put up these walls. Kind of just puzzled them out and put them up. Then I put these little pictures throughout. They're a little, I don't know if I should keep them. I don't know if they're eerie enough. But when I finished, I was like, oh, that was super easy. It was very, very easy. Probably less than 40 minutes, honestly. Big, giant yellow square, just putting out rooms and stuff. Oh, let me fly a little bit so the place is easier. But I did forget to put in the carpet. But yes, this build, the stream is no longer there. I was having like some bad vibes while I was actually making this build. Because I was talking about some stuff. I mean, it is scary stories, but I was talking about some like personal background stuff that was supposed to kind of give the idea of why I even believe in paranormal, how paranormal stuff is mentioned and brought up in my family and stuff like that. And I started feeling uncomfortable. I felt like I was kind of oversharing. I overshared some details about my family and stuff. But then, of course, these same family members we're not on good terms. I haven't spoken to them. I've been around them in a long time, so talking about them made me start feeling uncomfortable, and I expect to get spooked while I'm talking about scary stories and stuff, but it was just it was a yucky feeling. So I'm just gonna go through here, just record me putting in the carpets for the place, and then again, I just apologize for the actual build not being recorded, or it was, but for privacy reasons I took it down. I feel like the carpet was necessary. Just gives this place a little bit more texture. Then I put up these paintings in the corners to try to give it a little bit more like of a feeling. But it's just kind of hard because it's a big open space. It's empty. I used in total 3 different blocks for building it. And I just put in these paintings and stuff, and I'm just trying to give it more like of a feel. I think the carpet is a good idea and a good touch. Then my audio on the last one. Some of my audio was too loud. Like, clearly there's a thunderstorm going on outside in the game. You can hear it. The weather in the game is bad, as well as the weather in my real life. There's a legit thunderstorm going on right now. And rain, currently, where I'm at, so. I was scared myself with the sound and stuff, so. Then I felt uncomfortable with the conversation I was having. I felt like, okay, this is an honest and truthful conversation. It explains a little. I didn't know I left that open. But then I realized it would have just been better to leave it all out because it is some bad energy. Then I felt like I wasn't even prepared to tell my scary story because I was sitting and I am a sensory type of person, like senses. So I went and got a blanket to put around me because I stream in the dark too. It's just more my vibe to do that. I think I'm going to take all these pictures out. I don't think they are necessary and I don't feel like they look good. This weather is unnecessary in my ear right now. I keep changing the weather to clear. I wonder if I type out always, if that... I don't really know how to use... Yeah, I don't know how to use it to keep it that way, but I do know I want the weather to be clear. I don't know how to type things out on Minecraft, really. I'm on console, specifically controller. It takes way too long to sit and type things out. Is that all of them? I think that might be all of them. Yep, I got all of them. So yeah, let me drop. This is level 2 here. It's just the open yellow office, backrooms. We did 2 smooth slab, smooth quartz. I think it's smooth quartz slabs for our lighting fixtures. And yeah. This looks so much smaller when you're walking through it like this, but... Oh, what happened to my... Is it further back? Yeah, I guess. I was gonna say, what happened to my door? Where did my door go? Let me go close these doors. Drop. Okay, that one's closed. Let me see how I lit this up. This one's just so much brighter than my other one, but I also think my other staircase was much further down. Gotta remember how to get through here because I've gotten lost a few times in here. There's my other staircase. It's just a little too dark down here. Then I was going to do a grocery store, what's it called? Backrooms. Influenced by like the grocery store vibes. Let me double check. It's just really dark in here. I don't want torches or anything like that in here though. It's the thing that sucks. Okay. So yeah, I went and got blankets to wrap around me. Puppy! I have a little kitty cat with me. Hello! To make me feel more comfortable. Let me show what the outside of this looks like, my level 2 over here. Basically, big yellow box. Kind of similar to our bunker, which is a big white box. And yeah, that's how I set it up. Hi! Have my little fluffy kitty cat hanging out with me. Keep me company while I share scary stories and talk about scary stuff. Oh man. I say I want to do this stuff And it's easier to tell scary stories to someone when they're right there, interactive with you, talking to you. Like the comfort of the other person helps. Helps it not feel so scary, but you still feel uncomfortable and you still get chills and shit thinking about it. Or at least I do, because I definitely believe in like the paranormal and stuff. So, yeah. Let's start building this. Fluffy, come here. You try to make my Fluffy comfortable. I'm gonna go blue screen real quick. I'm just gonna check my lighting because I feel like it's a little dark in here. Let me see. Just trying out a few different colors and stuff. Don't want to like be on stream actually doing any of that. I think the scary part is when I'm on camera, I can kind of like see behind myself. And I have a big old kitty cat squishmallow behind me right now. Some zebra print, and it just looks scary sometimes on camera. But yeah, there's level 2. Sorry I didn't post that. When I post this video, I try to do a little walkthrough, try to kind of explain how I did it in case anybody ever copies it or wants to do it themselves. That's basically like the blank slate that I worked with and the ideas that I used. Oh, okay, so I have so many scary stories, I don't know which one to start with first. We can start with the ones that happened when I was really little, or I could share ones of people that I know. Hard thing about the people that I know is I just want it to stay anonymous because I don't want anyone to be upset with me sharing any of their stuff. But real quick, I don't know if this is big enough. Maybe I can. So it would end over here. And over here, and maybe if I stretch it out by that much more, yeah, that much more, it might be big enough. So I want to make it a series to tell scary stories while doing my backrooms builds. I was struggling today because my brain doesn't really do well with like multitasking, and so sitting and trying to tell a story while doing that build specifically was really hard. I was struggling with it because I'm sitting and critiquing how I'm building things and what I should change and what I should do. But we will try to do it anyways. Hi, Fluff. Hi, handsome. Okay. So let me think real quick. Which one should I share? They might just be all over the place because it's one of those things where I've had so many experiences. They come in and out of my head at random times where I'm like, wait, I remember that. And then I just share it. But particularly today, I think I'm going to share some from my childhood home. And again, if you don't believe in paranormal stuff, you think that shit's cheesy or whatever, you can always listen and laugh at least. Like, you don't have to agree with me or think that that shit's real or anything. I think it's real. I've had enough experiences, and I don't think that things like energy and ghosts are too far out. Life is so crazy and filled with so many things, and, you know, half the time we talk about being hurt and our feelings being so real that they actually cause us, like, physical pain, physical heartaches. Like, if feelings can have such an effect on something, I think that there can be unseen forces and energies that are capable of doing the same thing. So to me, it's never too far out for stuff like that. I'm a fan of like aliens, and I deep dive into like crazy rabbit hole circles of conspiracy theories and stuff all the time, because to me, a lot of those things are just they're not too far out to me. And I've had a fair share of experiences to back it up. But let's get into one of the stories that I have. We'll start with, like I said, my childhood home, and one story in particular that I experienced. And we'll just go through there and try to make this a series. So when I was growing up, I grew up in a 2-story house in a decent neighborhood. I would say it was decent at the time. And I grew up in a home of eight of us, 2 parents, 6 kids. So one thing that was common was sharing rooms, sharing beds, sometimes just knocking out and sleeping on the floor. If somebody had ruined a mattress and we had to throw it away, then people were sleeping on couches. It was very common for me throughout junior high school to be sleeping on the couch all the time, just because there wasn't enough beds. And I wouldn't say I grew up like in poverty, but I definitely grew up poor, especially for how many people were in our house. And we were in a 4-bedroom, supposed to be a 2-bath, but it was a 1-bath, a 4-bedroom, 1-bath house with 5 girls and 1 boy, which is my older brother, and then my 2 parents. And so basically, the reason why I mention any of this is because when it came to nighttime and going to sleep, we kind of just found anywhere to sleep, because mattresses, even back then, were expensive. And so my parents like would buy these big couches. I think at one point like had a couch that was, half of it was like a recliner, where me and specifically my younger sisters would sleep on it. And we were just constantly in each other's business all the time, because there was no privacy. It was a smaller home, too many of us, 1 bathroom, and we got used to being very close when we were little. Literally sleeping back to back on the floor type of thing. Never felt like it was a bad childhood. I don't look back and think I'm ashamed of it or use it in any negative way. That's just how it was. But when I was, I would say, a teenager, fresh teenager, so we're seeing like 13, 14 years old, I started wanting some independence from my siblings. So I basically went to my mom and my dad and was like, hey, the basement, okay, nobody in my family would sleep in the basement because we thought our basement was haunted. All of us had had scary, negative experiences in the basement, and I had had an experience in the basement previous to the one I'm going to share right now. But I was a teenager, fresh teenager. I didn't want people in my business. I wanted independence, my own space, blah, 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 blah. So I went to my parents and asked them if I could move into the room underneath our living room. That used to be my mom's room. And of course my parents were like, as long as you clean it up, you can sleep down there or whatever. All my siblings were like, you're crazy. Why are you going to sleep downstairs? Again, 2 really bad experiences I've had were sleeping downstairs. But in this particular situation, I was like, no, I want independence. I'm growing up, blah, 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 blah. So I go downstairs and I go into the room, and the room had no bed in it, of course. The mattresses and stuff were all upstairs. For years, everybody slept upstairs. I think the only person that at one point slept downstairs was my brother. And that was pretty much it. And then he moved upstairs and he never moved back downstairs. So these rooms were like filled with storage. They were filled with random things, boxes and bins and all this other stuff. So I go into the room and I start cleaning up. I'm like, I don't have a bed down here. Maybe I can, again, if you grew up like poor, you sleep on whatever. I grabbed 2 bins because at that time I was about the length and height of 2 storage bins, okay? And I decided that I was going to sleep on these bins, that I was going to put the bins together, then I was going to find something that wasn't a mattress, but something flat to put on top, and then I was going to put blankets and pillows and all this other stuff. And I had kind of seen these trends, like in my own friends' houses, of putting their beds in the closet, and having half the bed hanging out of the closet, having their clothes hang above them, and basically just my friends doing that to have room in their room to do whatever else they want, and to have sleepovers, everybody has enough room on the ground, and blah, 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 blah. So of course I'm like, I'm going to be like the other teenage girls that are cool, and I'm going to sleep in the closet, and have half of me in the closet, half my bed in the closet, half of it hanging out. So I'm downstairs, I'm getting home from school, and I'm going immediately to the room and I'm working on it. And one thing I did notice is that as soon as I could feel that the sun was like going down, so it was getting darker outside because there was a huge window that let in light, I would finish up cleaning up the room and setting it up for myself. And basically while cleaning the room, was afraid of the room. I was afraid of being in the basement at nighttime because of like all the scary stuff that I had heard and shit like that, and I had already had bad experiences. But of course, I sat and still wanted to be an independent teenager, so I tried anyways. So I clean up the room, I get everything set up, I get Christmas lights because I didn't have LED lights, so I got Christmas lights and I strung them up above the closet, so above my head, and I pretty much finished up where I was going to be sleeping and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I come home from school, I finish it up, it's still daytime, I go upstairs, I'm eating dinner, and I'm sitting and thinking to myself, am I really going to sleep like in the basement tonight by myself? Well, all my siblings are 2 staircases away from me. Buffy! All my siblings are 2 staircases away from me. If I get attacked or anything, I'm going to have to fucking run up a million stairs. I'm like sitting there thinking, am I really going to like sleep in our haunted ass basement tonight? And the answer was yes, I was going to do it. So after dinner, I go downstairs. I'm like putting stuff away. I put like a little drawer next to my little setup bed that I had. I put my backpack, I put all my school shit. I'm like sitting down there listening to music and hanging out with my cat. And at that time frame, my cat had just barely had kittens. And so I thought to myself, I'll feel better if I bring the kittens downstairs and they can sleep in the corner of the room with me. This is another very important part that I forgot to leave out of the story. This room, before it became a place to just put things, had been a dance studio. So my mom used to teach dance from inside of our house. So the room is like a big long room, and the whole wall was covered in mirrors. So while I'm cleaning and doing stuff, I can see myself doing stuff throughout the entirety of it. And those mirrors were there all the time. In fact, I think those mirrors are still on that wall today. And so, being unaware of what a portal is, I was constantly in one for hours, and then I not accidentally, I actually slept in like a portal room. So, that night, I take my cat downstairs. I take her kittens downstairs. I set up a little bed for her in the corner of the room, and she just immediately starts nursing and going to sleep. She had no problem. She felt fine with what was going on. Didn't feel uncomfortable moving from upstairs to downstairs at all. And I go to sleep. And when I'm asleep, I have this dream of this. Okay. I'm asleep. I'm dreaming. And in my dream, I wake up. And I am in the room. I wake up and I sit up off of my bed. And I can hear somebody whispering. And I look over in the corner of the room, and there's my cat's bed and her kitten's bed, but she's not there. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I think my cat at the time, because I've had cats my whole life, like several. This one, her name was Lucci. So I'm like, where's Lucci? Why is Lucci not in the room? I'm looking in the mirror and stuff. I can see myself sitting on the bed. And I'm like, she must have gone upstairs and she must have taken the kittens upstairs. But I can hear this whispering that's coming from the hallway outside of my room. And this is all a dream. And so Ruffy, you okay? My sweet little kitty cat. So I followed the whispering. And in the basement, it was an unfinished basement. So there were cement floors and stuff like that. And there was no door. There was just a curtain. That was the door to this room. And it was a white curtain. So I get up and I walk over and I can hear this whispering. And down the hallway is actually the garage of our house. And I can see the curtain swaying and stuff in my dream. I'm like, what the hell? And I open up the curtain and I can see into the garage. The garage door is wide open and it is dark, but I can see that there was a woman standing in the garage. And she was in a dress, she had long dark hair, and she was just standing in the garage, and it was so dark I could see her figure, but I couldn't really see her face. So, anyways, I hear her whispering. I look over in my dream, I open the curtain, and I freeze because there's somebody standing there. And she starts whispering louder and louder, and I basically ask her, what do you want? Who are you? And she points past me to where my cat was laying at. I turn around, there's still no cat there. I look back at her and she starts laughing hysterically and pointing and shaking her finger at where my cat was laying. And I'm like, do you have my cat? Where's my cat? Where's her kittens? And I could hear meowing coming from the garage, where she was in and where she was standing. And it was echoing super loud in my dream. And it sounded like the kittens were screaming, like they were in need of help. So I tell her, you better give my kittens back, you better leave my cat alone. And all of a sudden she bends down on the ground and she picks up a kitten and is holding it in her hand, and she's sitting there laughing. And guys, when I tell you it was the scariest laugh, let me change this fucking weather right now, because what the literal fuck? Why did I have to spawn in a place that has fucking scary ass weather? So she's scream laughing, like a banshee type of laugh, really loud, really scary laugh. And I think in my head, I gotta save my cats. This witch looking lady, has my cats. So I go running into the garage and I go charging at her, ready to fight her and stuff, give me my kittens, give me my cats back. As soon as I get into the garage, I realize I'm standing in pitch darkness. And by the time I was running to her, she had disappeared. And I make it into the garage. I'm standing there in darkness. I'm looking around. I'm screaming, swearing, where the fuck are my cats? You better leave my kittens alone, blah, 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 blah. And all I hear is this loud laugh that goes all around me over and over. And it feels like wind swirling like a tornado around me. And I look over the door and I can see the light coming from my bedroom, and I can see, I can see down the hallway. And when I look over there, I can see my cat is on the bed that I had made from her, and she's sitting there asleep with her kittens. And at that point in my dream, I had realized that this person had tricked me into the garage, and that entire time my cat had been actually there in the room with me. So I start panicking and I go running to the door, and right before I get to the door, it slams in my face. And I'm just standing in the dark and it gets cold. I can actually feel coldness on me in my dream. And then I hear this whisper in my ear that says, I wanted you. And all of a sudden I'm choking and somebody's choking me. So, or not someone's choking me, the lady from my dream was attacking me in the garage while it was dark. And I woke up in a panic. I woke up freaking out and stuff. And as soon as I woke up, the Christmas lights above my bed that I had set up and were on all night started popping. The bulbs started popping and breaking. There was a surge of electricity that went through them, that they started popping and going black. The little glass went black. So the actual glass didn't break, but the little tiny thing, the little circuit inside, popped over and over, and the lights all broke above my bed, and then they actually came off the wall and fell on me while I was laying in bed, and they fell on my neck, and it felt like they started choking me. So I started screaming. I ripped them off. I'm like yelling for help. And my dad, so my mom's room was upstairs, and my dad works graveyards overnight. So I was basically shit out of luck because my siblings were upstairs all knocked out. And it's 2 flights of stairs to get up to my living room, which is where most of my siblings would be sleeping. So I'm screaming and yelling, "Get off of me, get off of me." I pull the light off of me. I throw it on the ground. I hop up out of the bed. I'm like scared to look in the mirror and see myself or see what's like around me or anything like that. And I look over in the corner and my cat and her kittens are gone. And I'm sitting there like shaking my head, wondering if I'm awake. And that's when I realized, like, I've got to get upstairs. I got to go upstairs. So the scary thing about this is, like, other than what I've already shared, is I have to go past the garage and down that hallway in order to get upstairs. The staircase to upstairs is on that hallway. And so I used to do this thing when I was really little where I would squint my eyes so that I couldn't really see what was in front of me or ahead of me. I squint my eyes and I felt around trying to get to the staircase so I can go upstairs. Again, I had to go past the garage in order to go upstairs. And the light on my staircase was broken. It had been broken for years. So I had to go up the stairs in the dark. Anyways, I got upstairs and I was crying and sobbing. And my older sister came over to me and she had woken up and she asked me what was going on. And I said there was a ghost downstairs. In my dream, she attacked me. And then when I woke up, I felt like she was still there and she had attacked me like in real life too. And my sister sat there and just convinced me that sometimes our mind plays tricks on us, especially when we watch scary shows and scary movies. Our mind just wants to like, it's subconscious fears, they're from shows and blah blah blah. And that was her way of comforting me, was to tell me that basically everything that I saw was not real and everything that I experienced was not real. And by the way, I was so exhausted and tired that by the time I got upstairs, I asked if I could just turn on Disney Channel. I think I turned on George Lopez, and I sat there until the sun came up for school the next day. And when I saw the light blue in the sky, I knocked out. Of course, like an hour later, I got up and I went to school. But I stayed up all night because of how bothered I was by what happened. But I was also a little delusional where I didn't know if what had happened with the lights actually did happen. And I was so scared when I got upstairs and telling my sister about my dream and she fell back asleep that I didn't mention how the lights were freaking out when I woke up. And anyways, I went to school that day and I came home, and when I got home, my dad was off of work early, and he came over to me and was saying, "Oh, your sister was telling me you had a nightmare last night. What happened?" My dad is religious, so he asked if he could give me a blessing, if he could help me in any type of way. And I started telling him about my dream. And I told him, I was like, the crazy thing is, though, Dad, when I woke up, I saw the lights all freaking out and like they were busting right in front of me. And he goes, "What lights?" I was like, "The Christmas lights downstairs that I strung up above my bed." I had been working down in the room by myself. My family avoided coming downstairs unless it was to grab something from the freezer that was in the garage. Nobody was like ever downstairs. Downstairs was like a fucking abandoned area that when I was really little, my brother and my mom were living downstairs. And then over time, they just both refused to live downstairs. And they both said that they were having scary experiences, and they just kind of turned downstairs into like a storage area. My mom lives downstairs currently in the room that I'm talking about. But at that time, they were nobody was downstairs ever fucking helping me with shit when I was cleaning or doing anything. And so my dad's like, okay, I'm gonna come downstairs with you after dinner, and I'll come check out like what you're talking about or whatever. And he's like, do you want to come with me? I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay upstairs. If you want to go look at the lights, I think they're all broken, we have to throw them away or whatever. So my dad goes downstairs, and after like 20 minutes, he says, oh, Lily, you need to come downstairs. I'm like, I don't want to come downstairs. He's like, I'm down here, you're fine, blah, 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 blah. So I go downstairs, and I can see when I get downstairs, the lights are still up above the bed. And my dad goes, these are the lights that fell on you? And I'm like, yeah, they fell on me, and it felt like they were choking me, like somebody was pulling on them. He's like, these lights? He's like, did you put them back up? I'm like, no, I didn't put them back up. And I started like getting frustrated with my dad because I felt like he didn't believe me. And he's like, well, these lights look like they're fine. They're all strung up or whatever. And I was like, no, watch. And I go to plug them in. And when I plugged them in, the lights were all broken. And that's when I started telling him I knew I wasn't dreaming about that. That actually did happen. And he's like, oh, how weird. He's like, all the bulbs are burned out. I'm like, yeah, not only did they burn out, but those fucking fell on me. And it felt like somebody held them and tried to choke me out. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, I'll take them. I'll get rid of them. And then I asked my dad to take all my stuff that was downstairs back upstairs. As soon as we went back up the staircase, I never went back downstairs. And I never slept back downstairs after that, ever again. Because I was so scarred by my dream and scarred by what happened. And in fact, I, for a long time, was not able to sleep with lights above my head until a few years ago when I moved in with my sister. I actually went and purchased Christmas lights, and I put them above my bed, and I slept with them above my bed during like the whole year that we lived together. And that was like a way of me kind of healing what had happened, because I was now at a point in life where I felt like I was more sure of myself, where if anything scary were to happen, that I could properly like defend myself energy wise. And so I remember going and buying the Christmas lights and thinking to myself, the last time you slept underneath these, you had been fucking choked out. And I basically convinced myself to try to get over my fears by, which I've done several times, by going and buying and sleeping underneath Christmas lights. And when I slept underneath those lights at my place with my sister at the time, nothing, there was some scary stuff that happened to us at the apartment, but nothing scary with those lights happened. And in fact, I'm so confused on why only 2 of these. What the heck? Oh, it's because I accidentally framed the frame. Yeah, nothing scary happened with those lights ever again. But that is one scary story I had. The reason I consider it scary is because it wasn't just a dream. It ended up happening to me like in real life. And I was so scared the night that happened that I wasn't sure if I remembered how I woke up properly. But when me and my dad went and plugged in those lights and saw that all the bulbs were burned out, I had like a flashback of that night and what had happened. And of course, people like wonder, how do you move past something fucking bothersome like that? Well, I grew up religious. My dad coming over and saying prayer and blessing over me helped me be able to kind of just function anyways. I was still hesitant of the basement and I was still scared. But if my family asked me to go down to grab something from downstairs, I felt protected in a way because of the blessings that he had given me and all this stuff. Of course, I've grown a lot since then. I'm not religious at all anymore. So I feel like people wanting positive things for you can be helpful with staying away from those type of things. But I do know that a big part of it is just me and how I feel and how I approach those things. And I approach it so differently nowadays with such a different point of view and so much more confidence, I guess you could say, that I don't feel like blessings are necessary. I appreciate them because I feel like they're helpful. Anytime somebody wants to protect you from bad energy, that's always helpful. But yeah, that would be my, what time is that? That is my scary story. I only shared one during this stream because I hopped on to stream a second part, and most of the first part that I did that's not available anymore, again, I just feel like I was oversharing, not scary stories, but just family information around paranormal stuff. I didn't share any like scary stories during that one. I just shared some family stuff that's not really scary. I guess depending on how you view it and stuff. But let me get some watermelon. Again, I'm making a little grocery store in here. This one I didn't have any influence from. I didn't look anything up to like help me with it. But I don't know if I like the look of that either. It's too far out because I only have so much space. Yeah, and I want to be able to see the ceilings. Maybe I can place them on top, like middle on top, and that'll look a little bit better. But I've just have, fuck, I forgot what I was saying. I didn't share any scary stories for the first hour of building the level 2. I think I'm going to hop back on and do the rest of level 3 in a little bit. I'm going to put that into a second part of level 3 because it is 9 o'clock my time, and I did promise my sister that I would go over to her house and work on something real quick with her. It shouldn't take too long. Then I'll come back, like maybe 10 minutes tops. We live right next to each other. Then come back and finish this one. Maybe, I thought I heard something. Maybe consider telling another scary story. Again, these aren't scary to people that don't believe in that stuff, but these were scary to me. And you got to think, like, from like a little teenager point of view, crazy shit like that happening, and it happened a lot. Especially in my parents' house. I'm pretty positive their house is haunted. Like, severely haunted. Like a poltergeist type of haunted. That I was scarred. I was pretty scarred and scared. It's weird to talk about it so casually now, because I used to, when I shared these stories, like especially when I retold what happened to my dad specifically, I was shaking, and depending on the environment and the people I'm with, I still get chills and like choked up talking about that stuff, because I, for a long time, believed, specifically in that story, that woman was some type of evil spirit, and she was trying to cause me harm. And I've always suffered with sleep paralysis, sleepwalking, night terrors. I still suffer with it really bad. Not nearly as bad as it was before, but it's something that, just to explain plainly, I'm highly vulnerable in my sleep. So having scary dreams and scary experiences that then carry on into my life, like my real life and what's going on around me, it just really fucks with me, because I have a hard time waking up from that stuff, and I have a hard time differentiating what's like going on and realizing if I'm awake or not. So, but I'm gonna cut this stream short real quick. I'm gonna go to my sister's, then I'm gonna come on and finish level 3 in a part 2.